So looks like we are almost ready for the final few cars, just slotting into position at the back. 5-second board is now shown, and we are almost ready then for the 15-minute race to get underway. The red lights go on and go off, and away we go then, and it's a pretty even start, but Gary Preble you'd expect to be able to make it into the first corner first. That much more powerful car. Looks like someone's wing mirror has gone for a Burton. Is that Paul Warren that was struggling to get off the line at the back of the field as well? But it is Gary Preble. It was Paul Warren. It is Gary Preble then that has the lead as they turn their way into Richard for the first corner. No surprise there really, with little opposition in the way of Class A, apart from Trevor Gregory of course in his Clio.
Into the hairpin they come. There is Trevor on the inside line. Oh, locking up in the middle there, but I think they got away with that. Tony Perfect held on to the lead of Class B ahead of Phil Wright, and then Paul Bancroft, who's sideways in front of Ian Williamson. Here's Trevor Gregory going side by side with Sean Green. The Civic is going ahead. Luckily it's a long lap here to allow the marshals to get Paul Warren's car out of the way. There's Gary Preble, car up on 3 wheels, turning through the Agostini hairpin, and Ian Williamson behind Phil Wright dives up the inside of Paul Bancroft, and look who's off the road again. It's Josh Larkin.
At the same corner as well, I think, isn't it? The 113 car of Josh Larkin. Ooh. He's right to the back, and there's Bancroft and Williamson going wheel to wheel. It's Bancroft ahead at the moment then in the number 53 car, but that was a side-by-side moment through Hamilton and towards Oggies.
Yeah, Williamson got through at Agostini, but obviously ran a bit wide, and that allowed Paul Bancroft to re-challenge into the next corner.
Yeah, so they're making their way onto the Bentley Straight once again.
Looking there at Chris McCloy, Thomas Cross on the back of his Honda Civic, and look down the Bentley Straight. Yellow flags is there.
Yeah, there's a car parked. They've just passed it, I think, on the left-hand side of the circuit. So I don't know if you can work out who's not come through at the end of the first lap. But can't really very easily can from the information on the timing screen without doing a proper check through. But anyway, this is the battle for 4th and 5th then. 53 Paul Bancroft and 11 Ian Williamson, both of them in Class B cars. Ian Williamson, of course, having those 2 Class B wins at Silverstone.
Looking at Class C, all the Golfs have got ahead of David Drinkwater.
All of them. Dan
Gibbs, Tim Hartland and Nick Leston, all ahead of David Drinkwater. Well, if there's any more Golfs, it isn't all of them, but 3 of them at least have got ahead of Drinkwater, which perhaps isn't what you'd expect. So Dan Gibbs leads the way.
Oh, that's why. That's why.
Quite significant damage to David Drinkwater's car, isn't there?
Yeah. Well, he's got 1 Golf behind him. Was that one of the 3 that
Has
you
he got back
mentioned?
Or was he... Has he got back ahead of Tim Hartland? Or Nick Leston?
He's just behind the Simon Hutchings Peugeot 206 at the moment. So he's past Leston, I think. Yes. He's got past Leston.
So, despite the damage, the car's going okay, it would seem. But he obviously lost time in whatever happened on that first lap.
Yeah.
And we've only had 25 cars through, so I think we have lost a few. Obviously, we lost Paul Warren.
Yeah.
But there are some others too, it would seem. There is Tim Hartland, isn't it?
Yeah.
Making his hot hatch debut, I think, this weekend.
Long-time racer in the Mark II Golfs, though, and it's good that we have these Mark II Golfs here. And the Peugeot is trying to get back on terms with David Drinkwater through Nelson that time. That's Simon Hutchings in the 206 GTI.
in road sports we were talking about armed forces drivers, and I think Simon Hutchins is one of them, isn't he, that's getting a go out before the season's over. I'm not sure if there's any armed force teams doing the Burkitt next week.
I believe there is. I believe there is one team that's looking to do it. So
perhaps this could be a bit of just a bit of prep before. Oh dear, that didn't go well. If this is prep for the Burkitt, he gets clobbered by William Hornsey's Peugeot 106. So the two Peugeots got together, the 206 and the 106. What's that make?
A mess, really. I mean, that was a slightly bizarre incident, wasn't it? Because Hornsey seemed to come from quite a long way back and collected Hutchings, who seemed pretty hapless in all of that.
We've got a Class B lead battle on, I think, between Tony Perfect and Phil Wright, because there's just 6 attempts between them, and Wright is catching. They're a long way ahead of Paul Bancroft and Ian Williamson, though. So Williamson unable to get past Bancroft, and that has absolutely allowed the other two to pull away.
Gary Prebble did a 2-minute 10.36. The Class A lap record is a 2:06.31 for Ben Rushworth. So some way outside that, but as you were saying earlier on, not really needing to push to the full abilities of the car.
Yeah, that lap record really is outstanding, isn't it, from Ben Rushworth? Because that was quicker than we saw the cars going road sports earlier today.
Yeah.
So yes, that's pretty impressive stuff. Ben was racing a Mini at Silverstone today. I don't think that went terribly well looking at the results, but he's sort of moved into the historic racing scene. There's a Ford Fiesta, not too many of them out today. Who is that? 25.
Daniel Cowan.
Oh, right.
And I noticed it's got the road plates on as well, so I don't know if he's driven it to the circuit, which is always a possibility, I suppose.
Well, the 206 is still going, isn't it? I think William Hornsey didn't. So there, that is Simon Hutchins, isn't it? And he's battling there with a Citroen Saxo. That's Alex Martin.
Yeah, so here's Hutchins.
Across the line, Tony Perfect starting to get away from Phil Wright again in the Class B battle. We can see the big dent in the door on the 206, can't you?
Yeah, quite a sizable one. Hopefully that will bang out. 8 minutes to go, so coming up to halfway through this PBS Brakes hot hatch race here at Snetterton on the 300 circuit. Here's side by side very nearly between Chris Smith and Chris McCloy.
Both novice crosses on the back.
Yeah, for 7th and 8th, and McCloy goes through there at which gets the place back away from Chris Smith, which was lost briefly. So they're turning their way through Wilson Hairpin now. Let's get on within Class C. It's still Gibson Heartland ahead of Drinkwater, I can see, but look at this scrap involving Trevor Gregory and Matt Rowling, and there was Cameron Alder, the other one in there, I think. Was involved? Yeah, I think it probably was. A lot of dirt on the circuit there from an earlier moment. So these trio in the gathering gloom here at Snetterton. The sun has gone in. We've not got the problem of the setting sun. Head through Agostini. Fairly close order. Good racing all the way down the field in the PBS Brakes Hot Hatch Championship, which will conclude at Silverstone next month on the 14th of November. Final round of several championships being held there.
Phil Wright's lap record in Class B was a 2:11.8. He's beaten that, but he's not gone as quick as Tony Perfect has. So Tony Perfect, new Class B lap record, 2:11.14.
Okay, he's in second, and Philip Wright's in third. It's about
he's not anymore.
Oh my word! And just keeps it out of the barrier. How did he manage that?
A long way off.
I was going to say.
That was at the bomb hole, wasn't it? And
yeah.
So whether he was trying to challenge Tony Perfect.
There's plenty of runoff there, at least.
So we'll check who does come through. Looks like Ian Williamson's got himself ahead of Paul Bancroft, but this isn't going to do Phil Wright's Class B Championship any hope of goodness. Sideways again, isn't he? Perhaps a bit of dirt on his tyres. Well, it was a slower lap from Perfect, wasn't it? 2:14. So whether there was a bit of a moment between the two of them.
Could have been.
We didn't catch that, but Tony Perfect's got away with it, and this we'll see him take the championship lead within Class B heading into the final rounds on the Silverstone National Circuit next month.
Yeah. There's Ben Morton going through in the Integra, 9th position for car number 65, 10th Cameron Alder, 11th Matt Rowling, Trevor Gregory 12th in the clear, just falling off the back of those two a little bit now. As we'll got just over 5 minutes of the race left to go. There's Drinkwater, the number 1 car, the reigning champion, with that rather battered front end. Not quite sure what he battered it on the opening lap.
He was lucky to get away with that, I think,
He
hasn't
was.
he?
He's coming through now.
He's lapping much quicker than the 2 Golfs in front of him.
But he's quite a long way behind them. He's sort of 5 seconds behind Heartland.
That was 1.5 seconds quicker, so he has got the pace, but like you say, perhaps the gap's too big.
I'd say it's probably going to run out of time is the problem, because we've only got less than 5 minutes of the race left to go. So probably 3 laps, including the one they're on, I would think. So that rate of progress, he would just about catch Heartland. So it'd only be third, so it'd be the first. So he dropped a point earlier for fastest lap, didn't he, as well?
Yeah.
And this would be possibly his first position drop this season in the results.
Yeah, Dan Gibbs is 5 seconds ahead of Tim Hartland, isn't he? But Tim Hartland is going quicker than Gibbs. I think Tim Hartland's really been a front runner as well, hasn't he, in the Mark II Golf series?
Yeah, it's certainly been a winner when I've seen that in the past. Of course, the Mark II Golf's, their debut really as a separate racing entity was with the 750 Motor Club in the late 2000s. Before they moved off elsewhere, and some of them have migrated back to racing the Hot Hatch Championship now as part of a mixed grid. But for a time there was a couple of different championships catering for Mark II Golfs, which was maybe slightly odd.
There's Phil Wright. I don't think he's had the season that he wanted, really. He would come in hoping for the championship. He got a couple of wins at Mallory Park, but since then it hasn't particularly gone to plan, and being way off the road a lap or so ago will continue into being not the plan for Phil Wright, I suspect. He's in 5th. He's not really catching Paul Bancroft. The leader of Class B is Tony Perfect, with again a slightly slower lap, but he's still 7 seconds ahead of Ian Williamson with, 2 laps to go. It'll be a 7-lap race, I reckon.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
So 7 seconds. 2 seconds a lap Williamson's doing at the moment won't be enough. He'll have to be quicker than that, and Tony Perfect, you would think, has more pace left in his car if he needs to use it.
Yeah, 3 minutes left to go. Gary Preble then leading overall by 11 seconds, leading Class A as well. Class B being led by Tony Perfect. Class C being led by Dan Gibbs in the Golf in 13th position overall.
We just saw him flash across the line. He's in the 223. He's continuing to be caught by Tim Hartland, but the gap there is 4 seconds. On that lap, David Drinkwater was slower, so that chase really is over. Then 4th in Class C is the Vauxhall Corsa of David Measday, a car that, you don't see many Corsas race, do you? But David Measday does.
There's the 68 car, which is Dan Gibbs, then our Class C leader. Green car.
He was one of the people that really took to this last season, wasn't he, joining in with Hot Hatch, and looks like this weekend he's brought a few of his mates along, hasn't he?
Yeah, we had a few on occasion last season, but it's good to see good numbers of them here today. I mean, Dan Gibbs was 6th overall in the championship last year, and he won overall top 10, but 5 class podiums last year, and a 7-time winner in the golf class last year. I think Paul Foreman had a couple, and George Haynes had a couple last year as well among the golfs. But certainly Dan was the most successful driver last year. He finished 1 place behind Gary Preble in last year's championship, actually, and just ahead of Matt Rowling.
See him working at the wheel as he turned there through Williams, as the back end started to come out a bit. James Bark started off in Ghost, didn't he? Who's won the Clio Championship in recent seasons.
And I guess as well, a bit like the Honda Civic Type R in the 2000s, this was probably the iconic hot hatch of the late 1980s. This would have been, wouldn't it? I guess the Volkswagen Golf Mark II.
It's sort of a bit of a bigger engine, isn't it, than sort of the classic stock hatch cars that we have raced, but of a similar era.
Yes, absolutely. And it would, that would have been one of the cars that you'd want to have. It'd either be that or a 205 GTI. More than likely, you'd be making your selection between, or maybe an XR2.
Ben Morton hasn't come through, so we may have lost the Integra.
That's a shame.
I think he was on for his best result of the season as well. I saw there was a car parked up earlier, so I wonder if that was his. There is Gary Preble, who's on for yet another win this season, not just in Hot Hatch but elsewhere as well. He's been winning during the course of 2020.
Yeah, if you didn't missed it, in the recent issue of Autosport that celebrated Castle Combs' 70th anniversary, there was a long interview with Gary as well, because he's won more races at Castle Combs than anybody else as well, since he first raced there in 1990. So he's coming through, only 7.65 seconds to go, so we'll get the checkered flag this time.
Behind in Class B, the gap's come down to 4 seconds. Ian Williamson was over 3 seconds faster on the last lap, so that is just to check that Tony Perfect doesn't get caught.
Okay, but Gary Preble it is that's coming through Murray's. Out of Murray's he goes onto the centre straight for the final time then. You can see that John Elsey ready to get the photograph as he comes over the line, takes the checkered flag then, does Gary Preble, and another clear win in the PBS Brakes Hot Hatch Championship and in Class A as well, of course. And just that battle then for second to watch out for. Here it is. Well, it's not this one. This is for the third place, but
they've both gone off.
They've both gone off. Well, that's exciting. And it's Phil Wright that's got ahead of Paul Bancroft as a result of that. In the meantime, Tony Perfect has gone across the line in 7th place. He was about 3 seconds clear of Ian Williamson in the end. Then it's going to be Phil Wright up into 4th place on the final lap and Paul Bancroft 5th.
I don't think Phil Wright will admit that to be one of his better overtaking moves, but it come off.
It counts. And after the off he had earlier on in the race, which we didn't see how that started, then
crikey.
That is Matt Rowling.
It's all going on down there at Murray's on the last lap. For anybody that stayed right to the end of the day, has got action right to the end of their day here at Snetterton.
Yeah, so that's dropped him down the order. Ben Morton is now showing on the timing screen again, so possibly it was a transponder issue.
Oh, so he's ended 7th. I think will be his best result of the season.
Yeah, so 6th, 33, Sean Green, 7th, 65, Ben Morton, 8th, 37, Chris McCloy, 9th, number 18, Chris Smith, 10th, number 7, Cameron Elder, 11th across the line after that moment at the Murray's was number 147, Matt Rowling. 12th and 2nd place within Class A to number 83, Trevor Gregory. Then we're still waiting for 13th to come across the line. And
to note, David Drinkwater did a really slow previous lap, so let's see if he can make it to the checkered flag.
So we've had Dan Gibbs go through and we've had Tim Hartland go through as well. So both of the two Golfs have gone through, separated by about 2 seconds in the end.
Really came down, didn't it, that gap? But David Drinkwater did a 2:38 on the previous lap, so he's all well with that damaged BMW.
Is it going to make it to the flag? So that was 14th Tim Hartland that's gone through. Then we've got Callum Hoochin that's gone through 15th, so getting ahead of David Drinkwater on the final lap. And there is David Drinkwater, so he does get 3rd place within Class C, despite those late dramas. So he'll get 10 points for that, I think. He didn't get fastest lap, did he?
Yes, he did.
He did, so he gets 11. Phil Wright, he got 1, 2, 3. He was 3rd, so he gets 10 points. Gary Preble, I think, will get 10 as well. Tony Perfect should get the points for the class win and the fastest lap, so he gets 16. Gibbs gets 15. And that's probably going to do me. So I reckon after, with drop scores now, I think we've got David Drinkwater on 79 by my reckoning with drops. And then Tony Perfect on 68 second. Phil Wright 3rd on 66. Then Dan Gibbs 4th on 62. That's by my reckoning, unofficially. So it's not wrapped up yet.
But a really interesting Class B Championship decider at Silverstone between Tony Perfect and between Phil Wright, it would seem. But for the final time today, I think we can hear from Matt Suckling in Parc Fermé.
Yeah, thanks very much, guys. Down here with our Class B winner this time, which is Tony Perfect. You've got 2 out of 2. We spoke to him, of course, in race number 1. Said, could you do the double like everyone else this year? And you've got it done. Well done, Tony.
Yeah, thanks very much. It was a bit of a challenge off the start, under a bit of pressure, but managed to hold into second, behind Gary. Run out of track at the end of the hairpin about 4 or 5 laps in, and Phil actually come past me. And then I was saved by Phil having a bit of a big incident under the bridge. So, yeah, well happy with that.
There's a few pressures from behind in terms of, as you said, Phil, there, but then Ian was on your tail right towards the end. The gap was coming down and down, but you just kind of had it under control.
Yeah, I mean, quite a few. After Phil went off under the bridge, I looked in the mirrors. There didn't seem to be anything anywhere near close that I could see. So I sort of lifted a little bit. And then a couple of laps from the end, I see this orange dot coming up behind me pretty quick. So I had to pull the plug again. But no, it was all good.
Luckily, the weather conditions have changed for this second race. We've got 2 more races to come, of course, at Silverstone next month. We're not too sure what the weather's going to do there, but they should be quite interesting.
Yeah, I mean, middle of November, it's likely to be wet, but it's the same for everybody, so you just got to dig deep and carry on.
Great stuff today, Tony. Well done on your 2 victories in Class B, and good luck for Silverstone.
Thanks very much.
We go then, Tony Perfect, who is our Class B winner. I'm not too sure we're going to see. Oh, we are. We've got Dan Gibbs here, who's going to be our Class C winner. Come and join us, Dan. Many congratulations on Class C. First time this year, because David Drinkwater's done all the winning, but you've got the victory here at Snetterton.
I was so close in the first race. It had to happen this meeting. Unfortunately, David got held up in a bit of a incident up on the first lap, which helped me out anyway, to be fair. But no, over the moon with that. My first win in the hot hatch Class Cs.
Just shows your speed is improving. You're getting the raceware into you as well, so it's all coming good.
Yeah, it's a new car. As much as it's the old car underneath, it's a new car. It's still getting the fine little bits that I've lost in the old car. But we're getting there now with it. It's improving. It's driving really well. Happy days.
You finally cracked it. Let's see what happens at Silverstone.
Let's see. Yeah, brilliant. Lovely.
Yeah, well done. Congratulations to you on Class C victory. There we go then, some great racing as ever from the hot hatch. They're off to Silverstone in a few weeks' time. We've got lots more to look forward to tomorrow here at Snetterton with a very busy day ahead of us. But for now, guys, back to you.